Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. We have the pre-race press conference of the first three drivers of Austin Grand Prix. We'll watch this video and then we will continue with the part 2 after this. Let's watch together.
Hello everybody and welcome to the drivers press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One United States Grand Prix. We have two lots of three coming your way, and first group, closest to me, Kevin Magnussen. Then we have Esteban Ocon and Carlos Sainz. We've had a bit of a break. Welcome back to all of you. Carlos, why don't we start with you? How was the break? I gather you've been comparing yourself on a bike to the world number one.
Comparing, I don't think is the right word. I've been suffering next to the world number one, that by the way is in an incredible form and an incredible moment for Tadej Pogacar. Now that he's killing it in cycling, and I had the brilliant idea to go on a recovery ride for him. For me, it was the toughest ride of my life. He was on recovery mode after winning the world champs. And yeah, his recovery ride is still my zone 5 heart rate, zone 4, zone 5. So just shows the difference. No? I mean, we are athletes in our sport. Obviously, what we do is special in terms of reflexes and car handling and skills, but what he does on top of a bike is just incredible. And anyone who's been on a bike before, I think cannot imagine how much this guy pushes on a bike.
Sounds like you learnt a lot. Look, tell us about the mood inside Ferrari as we come to Austin. Is the team confident that it can maintain the form that it's shown on street tracks in recent races?
I think the more tracks that we've done since Monza, the more confident we are that the upgrades that we brought to the car start to work pretty much everywhere. But for me, I always said, no, over the last three races, I said until we don't go to Austin and we try them in a normal track, we will not be able to measure how much we've actually improved in tracks like Sandboard, Spa, where we last struggle a bit more. No, so I think this will be the most important test so far for us to see whether all these upgrades that we brought in the past are working in the right direction for more of a normal kind of track like we see here in Austin.
I will apologize first of all for stopping the video. It's YouTube rules. Just want to say 2 words. He's right about what he's saying, testing the car outside the street circuits that they have done so far. I'm talking about Ferrari, because the car has been handling really good and showing really beautiful performances on the street circuits, but in Austin this is going to be a real test for Ferrari. Let's continue.
And can you just clarify, are there any new parts here, or is it just consolidation of what you bought before?
Nothing new here. Is what we brought in Monza, and I think we brought a small upgrade in the front wing for Singapore. But yeah, more than that is confirming whether our better pace in the last 3 races is coming more from going to 3 tracks that really suited us, like Monza, Baku, and Singapore, or whether it's also the upgrades having a big effect on whether we were more competitive in those 3 tracks. And Austin will be able to tell us which one of the 2 it is.
And Carlos, how are you approaching these last 6 races with Ferrari? Are you all consumed with the challenge ahead at Williams, or are you still focused on what you've got to do with your current team?
For me, it's 2 separate things. I'm really looking forward to next year and the challenge with Williams. First of all, it's also good to see how much they've improved recently and how that car now can get to in the points quite often in the last few races. So there's encouragement and looking forward to that, obviously, but there's first a job to finish this year with 6 races left in a car that can potentially allow me to win a race or score a couple more podiums, and I want to maximize this opportunity to see if I can help the team also finish as far ahead as possible in the Constructors' Championship, and obviously give myself that big present of a nice podium or a win, no? Which is what I'm looking for and what I'm focusing over the last 6 races.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Esteban, let's come to you now. First of all, how was the break? You feeling refreshed? Any cycling for you?
It was good, thank you. Cycling not as hard probably as Carlos, but yeah, trained well, rested well, spent time with family and friends, and yeah, ready to go again. I mean, it can sound silly, but it makes a difference, to how much ready and how much energy all the team have coming into these last races, and we'll see hopefully how that goes for us.
Well, on track, you've had a tough time of it since the summer break. You could do with a change of luck. How do you think it's going to go this weekend? Do you think Alpine and Kota will be well matched?
Yeah, I mean it's been obviously a difficult run of races with the performance of the car. That is very clear. Unfortunately, we maximized the potential in Singapore, but that wasn't enough, for us to be points scorers. Pierre will have upgrades. I will run the old car this weekend, and we should hopefully have the upgrades for the next races onwards. So yeah, we're excited to see what that's going to bring to the performance of the team, and hopefully it will be a better position for us to end this season.
But can we throw it even further forward now to next year? Your team for next year, Haas, have recently announced a technical collaboration with Toyota. Can we get your reaction to that news? And feel like a good time to be joining the team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back then, Ayao convinced me with the plan he had. He didn't, specifically talked about that, but he really, told me what his plan was to take this team, to the next level and help on the things that the team have the chance to improve on. He convinced me back then, and it reinforces me to clearly trust him for the future. And yeah, I think it's exciting times for the teams ahead.
Esteban, thank you.
Well, this is a really big news. I have read about this in a couple of websites about the GR or Toyota Grand Racing joining Haas or being in collaboration with Haas, and it's gonna be a really big update on the Haas team, because Toyota, as we know, builds really good aerodynamics and things like that. In the technical part, they're gonna help a lot and to make the team even stronger and stronger in the next year. So we'll just need to watch and see what's gonna happen. Let's continue.
Kevin, let's come to you now. How was your break?
It was good, thank you.
What did you get up to? Anything you can share?
Not a whole lot, just kind of spent my time at home with the family and lived a normal life for a while, so that was nice. Refreshing myself for the last few races here.
Well, and you said a moment ago, just off camera, that you've done one race in the last 7 weeks, so
Yeah,
you must be hungry
weeks.
to get back on track.
Yeah, it's not been a lot of races recently because I had that race ban, so it's just been that one race in Singapore since Monza, so it feels like a quiet time that I've had recently.
Now, Haas has new parts here this weekend. It seems that medium downforce tracks suit your car as well. So do you enter this weekend with quite a lot of confidence?
I think, this year we've been pretty strong at most circuits. There has been a little bit more of a competitive edge at medium downforce tracks. This one is kind of close to high downforce, so it's not, we're not so sure what we're going to run, but it's not a bad track for us, I think. So there's some upgrades on the car, and we're excited to see if they're going to be good again. I think this year we've brought a few upgrades that has been working, so that's been a really good trend. And we're in a tight fight with RB for P6 in the constructors, and we're very motivated to take that battle to them and see if we can beat them. Williams are not that far behind us as well, so there's we're focused both in front and behind. So it's pretty interesting.
Who do you think has the faster car, you or Vicar? Because as you say, you are only 3 points behind them in the Constructors' Championship.
Recently, we've had a slightly faster car, at least in the races, and maybe they've been not even always, but it's probably been on average they've been a bit faster in qualifying. We've been a bit stronger in the races. So yeah, with the upgrades this week, hopefully we can take a small step there and be that much faster in qualifying as well. And hope so.
Kevin, final one from me. I was talking to Esteban about the technical collaboration with Toyota. It comes in with immediate effect. So do you think you're going to see the positives from that before the end of this season?
I don't think so. I think it's a longer term thing, but I do think it's very positive for Haas, and I think a very good way to kind of expand the operation, and a very needed step. I think what Haas has achieved in those years already has been quite impressive. If you actually know the operation and how small it is, it's kind of impressive what we have been able to achieve. But there has always been a feeling of a potential for more, and I think this is a good step to move further into that direction. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where they go.
Thank you very much for that.
So, effective of immediately, the Toyota is going to be with Haas and implementing their knowledge of technical part in the team, and gonna help. But as Magnussen just said, it's gonna be much more of a long term than a short term. So they're gonna do something, but not a lot of things. Also, Haas has brought new updates and new upgrades of the car in this particular track in United States, Austin. And we'll see what's gonna happen. Maybe they will be much more faster, and who knows, even game points. And we'll just have to wait and see. Let's continue.
Let's now open this to the broadcasters first of all, please. Who is first? David.
Good afternoon, David Croft, Sky Sports F1. A question to all three drivers. Whilst you can't always compete for a race win on the track, you can always compete for a fastest lap and an extra point if you finish in the top 10 that goes with it. But it seems the fun sponges have decided we're not going to have an extra point in the future, and they've taken that away. Do you as drivers agree with that, or would you have liked an extra point for a fastest lap to have remained as part of your weekend tally should you get it?
I always was of the opinion that it was a not needed point in the point system of Formula One, mainly because how it is achieved. Right now, that point goes to the one that has a free pit stop 1 lap to the end of the race. So it's not showing who is the fastest guy in the race, and he deserves 1 point for being the fastest guy. It's a point that goes to the guy that by chance or by luck or by race situation has a free pit stop at some point of the race. Not always, but in a lot of occasions, most of the times.
Would you like to see a point awarded for something else, maybe pole position?
Yeah, I agree. Pole position is something that, at least in Formula One, is given a lot of value. Qualifying is something that media people give a lot of importance to, no? And obviously, as drivers in qualifying, we like being the fastest because it shows you've maybe have done the cleanest lap. You've taken maybe more risks. You've put everything on the line to go on pole. And a point for that in a tight field makes sense. In a field where only one car is going to get all the pole positions, makes less sense. No? But in the ideal scenario of a tight field and one guy going for it in qualifying and getting that fastest, that pole position, I think it could make more sense than the fastest lap of the race.
Esteban, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, rejoin Carlos. I think for us drivers, being on pole, it's something very important, to us, and I think to all of you guys, it's something that we put a lot of effort, on, and that is very rewarding. On the race, we race to win. you don't necessarily race to be fastest on one lap. I never thought, that this is a good thing to have a 1 point, for the race, but for pole position, it would be much more rewarding, and that's something I would prefer.
Not a whole lot to add. From the perspective of a midfield team, I think it's something that very rarely is on our mind. It doesn't. If we're in top 10, even if you're P6, P7, it's very rare that you will have a pit stop gap to go on with what Carlos says. For us, it's never been relevant.
Thanks all. Yeah, Mara.
Mara San Giorgio, Sky Sport from Italy. A question to Carlos. Carlos, you told that the goal for Ferrari here is to maximize the package you brought already, but you think that we will see changes in terms of value with the updated packages from now on, considering everyone? And sincerely, how much do you believe in the title constructor for your team?
I think a lot of our belief in the constructor title will come over the next couple of races, because I think if from here to the end all the races would be Singapore's, Baku's and Monza's, we would believe that we can do it. If in Austin, Mexico, Brazil, that are more of a standard tracks, we see ourselves falling back a bit and being as not so performing like we were in Zandvoort or Spa, then obviously our belief goes down. No? So it's a lot trying to assess. We are coming back to normal tracks with long combined corners, high-speed corners. Let's see where we are now in these kind of tracks and see if we can still fight like we did in Singapore and Baku and Monza. No? And I think the others have taken this 3-week break opportunity to bring upgrades to the car. Obviously, we haven't stood still and we still try to improve every single area, but it sounds like there's going to be a couple of teams maybe bringing the last upgrade, and it could change a bit the pecking order. No? So that's why I think it's important to reassess from now on.
Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, next one.
From Spain, a question to Carlos. As we are arriving to the last 6 races of the championship and the last 6 races for you in Ferrari, do you feel something special inside to try to win these last races, as we know then in Williams is going to be more difficult?
Nothing special apart from obviously a lot of motivation to try to achieve it. Nothing would make me happier than achieving something like that before the end of the year. I'm gonna give it my absolute best. If it comes, great, and I'll be for sure celebrating. And if it doesn't, I don't believe it will be my last chance of fighting for wins or podiums in Formula One. So I'll remain working hard to try to get myself in a position, if it's with Williams or future ahead, to put myself in a position to win another race, because that's what I'm hungry for, and that's what I believe I can do, and that's what I've proven that I can do in Ferrari. So yeah, it doesn't end there.
I'm just gonna bounce to the other question that it was about Ferrari, and Carlos just explained it in really good words. And he said, like, we have to see how we perform on big tracks and normal tracks, and then we will see where we are on the balance. If the car performs as good as in street tracks, then we have a chance to compete for the Constructors Championship. If not, if we are falling behind, then there is no chance to fight for the Construction Championship.
All right, thank you. Diego?
Diego Mejia, Fox Sports Mexico. Question for Esteban. You've had a long career with Team Renault, before Lotus, and then now Alpine. They won't be carrying on with their own engine program in the future. What do you think about that, and what message does it send for the future of the team?
Yeah, as a driver for the team, it's difficult to comment about this, but as a French fan of the sport, and as a French driver, everything I can say is that it's a sad situation. it's very sad for French motorsport, but yeah, there's nothing more I can say.
Okay, yep. Next, Albert.
Albert Fabrega, ESPN Latam. A question for Carlos. Carlos, before signing Williams, you said you talk a lot with James about the plans of the teams, the upgrades they were planning to bring to every single race by the end of the season. They brought significant and relevant upgrades, and they are performing and becoming a Q3 and points during every single race. How important is for you to see that, taking in account that next year you will be driving for them?
On one side, it's very important because obviously during those conversations with James, we did talk a lot about this year, how much they were going to improve and which position they were going to be on for 2025. And so far, he's been a man of his word and his kind of expectations, which with upgrades in Formula One, you never know. But because you saw it clearly this year that bringing 3/10 to the car doesn't always mean 3/10 on paper, no? But yeah, he's been a man of his word in this sense, and the team seems to be taking their steps in the right direction. At the same time, this news that I was receiving from him and these promises, because they were not promises, they were expectations of the car getting quicker through the season and into next year, didn't affect that much my decision. As I said, my decision was a lot more based on the people and the feeling that I was getting from talking to the management, talking to the owners, and the feeling that I was getting from the whole organization, and not so much about the short-term performance gains that they were getting. And definitely what convinced me more than the downforce they were going to add or where the team was going to be in 6 months, 1 year time was the people and the professionalism and the vision of the project that they had, and this was the main differentiator to me.
Tim Haraney, TSN. Question for Carlos. Could you just explain a little bit more how that ride came about with Pogačar, and did he drop you at all on your ride?
So it came along because we're neighbors in Monaco, and we've gone a couple of times in Monaco we call them coffee rides, which is an easy ride. We just get the bike, do 30-40 Ks to a coffee place, have a coffee and come back. And that is normally the ride where Tadej doesn't push. So that's when the we're cycling losers like me, that we think we're fit and we think we're strong, can potentially join him to go for a coffee ride. But the reality is that during that coffee ride or that recovery ride, you're also dying by trying to follow him or stay in his wheel. He does the favor of not dropping you because he doesn't want to. We're having conversation, even though having a conversation at 170, 180 beats per minute while he's at 110 is not the most exciting conversation because you cannot talk much, and I think he can tell.
Thank you, Carlos. All right, one
Hello.
more from the broadcasters.
Panos Itaneris from Antenna TV Greece. I don't know if we have time for all three to answer, but whoever you want. You were racing back then, but from the 6 cars of Indy 2005, now have 3 races in the US, huge audience. Do you feel that Formula One has conquered the United States, and how important is that for the sport, for your teams, for your sponsors, and for you as drivers to be so popular in US?
Let's have 2. Kevin and Esteban, please.
Well, I think for us as an American team, it's been quite significant. Having the sport grow so much in the US the last couple of years has helped us. But I think it's helped everyone in the whole sport. It's a very important demographic for any sport to break through, and I think Formula One has done that. Big thanks to Netflix. I think that was kind of how a big part of those US new fans got into it. I think with COVID hitting and F1 being the first live sport, or the first sport to go live during COVID, and Drive to Survive, the first season coming out at the same time, and everything was like the perfect storm. So I think it's something that is noticeable for us and something very good for the sport.
Yeah, I remember coming here in 2016 and not seeing obviously the grandstand being full, seeing some holes at the hill in turn one. Now it's very, very different. It's insane. The amount of support that we receive when we come to the States. It's quite special to me because I always wanted, in a way, to be able to visit the States as a kid, and being able to go now to Miami, Las Vegas, coming here in Texas for that many years. It's honestly really, really cool. So yeah, I think it's a big difference compared to when I started in F1, and yeah, looking forward to see how it's going to evolve in a couple of years.
Hello.
All right, everyone, this is the end of the part one, and we had a lot of interesting answers and a lot of interesting questions also from the journalists and from the head of the interview, as we know, and the answers were interesting. I had a lot of fun. Also, I got a lot of information from the drivers, whatever is happening, what have they done while they were on vacation for 3 weeks, how have they been prepared for this particular track, particular Grand Prix, because as all we know, it's hard track and it's difficult. You need to be prepared mentally and physically also. So yeah, hope for the best, and we will continue on part one, and also I will be joined by my friend, as you all know him. See you in the part two. Bye bye.